You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Those bars by Kendrick Lamar in 2024 really shifted many hip-hop fans' perception of Drake's collaboration with artists from that city. Is there any merit to it though? In order to find out, we should take a look at the entire history of Drake's affiliation with the city of Atlanta and how much he benefited from or helped out and benefited the city. Drake may be a Canadian rapper born and raised in the city of Toronto, but on September 25, 2023, he publicly pledged his allegiance to the American capital of Southern rap music, Atlanta. During an Atlanta stop at the State Farm Arena on Drake's It's All a Blur tour, which also featured the Atlanta rap star 21 Savage, Drake made a bold statement. "Where would any of us be without Atlanta? All the love that you show, all the musicians that you birthed, all the contributions that you give. This is hands down the most important place in rap music. You should be proud of yourselves. All the artists that I've done the greatest work with, all the artists that I love, all the artists that inspire me, the majority of them come from right here in Atlanta. So y'all make some noise for yourselves tonight. We celebrating you." Then the very next day when Drake returned to Atlanta State Farm Arena for the second Atlanta show on the tour, he continued spreading love to the city by walking out on stage with Bow Wow, who was once signed to super producer Jermaine Dupri's Atlanta-based record label So So Def. Drake addressed the moment by saying, "Shout out my boy Bow Wow for walking me to stage tonight. I gotta say, Atlanta got a lot of legends, but that's somebody who I wanted to be like growing up. So shout out to Bow Wizzle walking me on stage." Drake also took some time to shout out the local trio Migos and their deceased member Takeoff, who was shot and killed less than a year prior in November of 2022. One of the first things I ever did in Atlanta was I hopped on the remix to this song called Versace, right? And I just wanted to say, while I'm in here, rest in peace to our brother Takeoff, man. That's one of my first memories of Atlanta, was hopping on that song and Atlanta showing me love. Whether or not you agree with Drake calling Atlanta the most important place in rap music is your personal opinion, but when Drake saluted the city because of its long list of rappers that he has collaborated with and become inspired by, this is pure fact. There has been an Atlanta rapper's vocals on every single Drake studio album thus far, and many of his EPs and mixtapes. As far as the studio albums are concerned, Drake's debut album Thank Me Later in 2010 had a T.I. feature for the song Fancy and a Young Jeezy feature for Unforgettable. Then the next year in 2011, Drake returned with his follow-up album Take Care and leveled up with a rare André 3000 appearance on The Real Her. Next up was the deluxe version of Nothing Was the Same in 2013 when Drake grabbed 2 Chainz for the bonus song All Me. On Views, which was album number 4 in 2016, Future joined Drake on the song Grammys, keeping their camaraderie going after they dropped their mixtape What a Time to Be Alive the previous year. Even in 2017, Drake dropped More Life, a project he labeled as a playlist, and it was filled with all new music and 3 features from Atlanta rappers, Quavo from the Migos on Portland, 2 Chainz and Young Thug on Sacrifices. Then, on his 5th studio album, Scorpion, in 2018, Drake pulled in Future for some subtle additional vocals on Blue Tint, and when Drake dropped his 6th album, Certified Lover Boy, Lil Baby showed up on Girls Want Girls. Future appeared on both Way Too Sexy with Young Thug and In Too Deep, and 21 Savage made an appearance on Knife Talk. We can say that the only project that didn't have them, which wasn't really a studio album, it was kind of dropped as a mixtape, a surprise drop, was If You're Reading This It's Too Late. But on Drake's 7th album, Honestly Nevermind, 21 Savage was the only one featured artist appearing on the song Jimmy Cooks. Album 8 was For All the Dogs in 2023, and 21 Savage returned on the song Callin' For You, and Lil Yachty hopped on another Late Night. Those are just the full-length studio albums that Drake recorded as a soloist. That's not even including collaborative projects that Drake did with Atlanta stars like the mixtape What a Time to Be Alive with Future, that dropped on September 20th, 2015, and Her Loss, the joint album with 21 Savage released on November 4th, 2022. Then, of course, there's a long list of songs from Drake's EPs and mixtapes that had Atlanta rappers on them, as well as the multitude of features that Drake did for Atlanta artists on their material. But what some fans may see as Drake simply spreading love to Atlanta, Drake's rival Kendrick Lamar viewed as Drake being a cultural colonizer. In fact, on the biggest diss record to emerge from the Kendrick versus Drake beef, Not Like Us, Kendrick Lamar gave a lengthy rundown of Atlanta rappers that he felt Drake swagger-jacked with lyrics from verse 3 like, "You called Future when you didn't see the club. Lil Baby helped you get your lingo up. 21 gave you false street cred. Thug made you feel like you was slime in your head. Quavo said you can be from Northside. 2 Chainz say you good, but he lied. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. No, you're not a colleague, you a effing colonizer." When it comes to Atlanta producers, they haven't had as much presence on Drake's projects. with Southside and Metro Boomin as the two that have collectively contributed to a little over a dozen Drake songs from 2015 onward. But who knows how much longer that will be a thing after Metro Boomin's involvement in the Kendrick vs. Drake beef. Metro released a diss beat BBL Drizzy that was aimed at Drake, and he was told by Drake to sit down and go make some drums on Drake's track Push-Ups. Drake apparently made that line happen in real life by reportedly hiring drummers to perform outside the local Magic City strip club in Atlanta during the middle of April of 2024 while the battle was still brewing. But the tension between Drake and Metro Boomin seemed to have been happening back in December of 2023 when Metro tweeted and deleted his dissatisfaction with award shows that he felt favored Drake and 21 Savage's album Her Loss over Metro Boomin's Heroes and Villains. Both albums were up for Best Album for Rap at the 2024 Grammys, with the award ultimately going to Killer Mike for his album Michael. Metro Boomin tweeted, "Yet Her Loss still keeps winning Rap Album of the Year over Heroes and Villains. Proof that award shows are just politics and not for me. I don't care about awards, honestly. The true award and reward is knowing that the music I spend so much time on brings joy to people's lives every day." Drake seemed to subliminally respond to Metro on a live stream by stating, "The non-believers, the underachievers, the tweet and deleters, you guys make me sick to my stomach, fam." All this led up to the Metro Boomin and Future album We Don't Trust You in March of 2024, with Kendrick Lamar featured on the scathing song Like That seemingly got the Kendrick vs. Drake feud officially launched. So as far as Kendrick's accusations that Drake has merely been using Atlanta rappers to be taken more seriously, let's take a look at Drake's history of working with artists from Atlanta, where their careers were at before and after Drake came into their world, and just how long they continued to collaborate together. The songs with Drake and Jeezy include I'm Going In by Drake, featured with Lil Wayne in 2009, Fed Up by DJ Khaled, featured with Drake, Usher, and Rick Ross in 2009, Unforgettable by Drake in 2010, Lose My Mind Remix, featuring Drake in 2010, I Do Remix, featuring Drake, André 3000, and Jay-Z in 2012, Champion by Nicki Minaj, featured with Drake and Nas in 2012, Shoot Mega Mix by Mike Will Made It, featured with Drake, T.I., Future, Schoolboy Q, Pastor Troy, and Diddy in 2013. The year of 2009 is when we can trace back to the start of Drake's expansive catalog with artists from Atlanta. In 2009 alone, Drake was a part of 4 songs with Atlanta rappers, 2 with Jeezy and 2 with Gucci Mane. So we'll begin with Drake's work with Jeezy, who in those days was going by Young Jeezy, and described his first impression of Drake by saying, "We met in New York, and I just sat back and was like, oh, he's from Canada. But I just saw how he was moving, and I was like, okay, they're really trying to make this kid big." It would be unfair to say that Jeezy really benefited more from working with Drake because Jeezy was already who he was before they ever collaborated. Prior to releasing I'm Going In and Fed Up, both songs featuring Jeezy and Drake in 2009, Jeezy was already about 9 projects into his Def Jam deal with 6 mixtapes and 3 albums. Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, which was 2 times platinum, Thug Motivation 102, The Inspiration, platinum, and The Recession, platinum. By 2009 standards, Jeezy was considered an extremely prolific artist, constantly dropping music more frequently than his major label peers. If anything, being that Drake was still about a year away from dropping his debut album, it was Drake that stood the most to gain from Jeezy's sizable impact in the southern rap scene, and from the street cred and controversy that surrounded Jeezy's name at the time. Across the span of 4 years, Jeezy and Drake appeared on 7 songs together, 2 being Drake songs and 2 were remixed Jeezy songs. Even though it has been over a decade since Drake and Jeezy worked together, there doesn't appear to be any tension between the two. Even in 2015, 2 years after their last record together, Jeezy complimented Drake's work ethic. Drake's smart, man. He understands. He studies music, and he sees it as a game. He's not just in it as an artist. He knows how to attach himself to certain things that are moving just to stay in the pocket, and that takes a different type of skill set. That ain't just getting in the booth and writing songs. With Jeezy not having put out any work with Drake in the last decade, there hasn't really been any uptick in his album sales since then. In fact, Jeezy had his highest selling albums before working with Drake. The songs with Drake and Gucci Mane include, in 2009, Street Cred featuring Drake, In My Business featuring Drake, in 2016, Back on Road with Drake, and in 2017, Both with Drake. After Drake set off his major label rookie year of 2009, popping up on 2 songs with Jeezy, Drake managed to also appear on another 2 songs called Street Cred and In My Business by an Atlanta rapper who was ironically one of Jeezy's rivals at one point, Gucci Mane. Street Cred and In My Business were songs featured on the Gucci Mane and DJ Drama mixtape, The Cold War, Gucci America. Much like Jeezy, Gucci Mane had already released dozens of mixtapes and albums before Drake even came into the picture. but it clearly helped expand Drake's name outside of his Lil Wayne, Young Money bubble and deeper into the radar of the southern rap music mecca of Atlanta. But it would take another 7 years to get Gucci Mane and Drake on a song again. This one was called Back on Road, which came out in 2016 after Gucci Mane had been released from prison after being locked up in 2014 when he pleaded guilty to possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. This time around, Drake was no longer just a rising talent with potential. He was a bona fide superstar. Back on Road was a much bigger deal than their previous pair of mixtape tracks, peaking at number 81 on the Hot 100 and earning a gold certification. The same year, when Back on Road came out, there started to be rumors that Gucci Mane and Drake would do an entire project together, much like Drake had done the year before with an Atlanta rapper named Future. The 2015 mixtape, What a Time to Be Alive, that went double platinum in Future's country, the US, and Drake's country, Canada. While on Math Hoffa's My Expert Opinion podcast, they let it be known who was the one that connected Drake to Gucci Mane. We almost did a Gucci and Drake tape. Gucci had just come home and I put them on the phone. They talked about doing a tape together. That's like 3 records on the Cold War series that are like Gucci and Drake records that were for that project. The tape never happened, but it was close. The producer Zaytoven, a frequent Gucci Mane collaborator, further confirmed this Drake and Gucci Mane project that never saw the light of day. And Gucci like, hey man, we ought to do a tape together. And Drake was like, bet, we ought to do it. And right then he started thinking about a name, and Drake said, we ought to call it the Sixers. Because where he from, they call it the Six, and Gucci Mane from Zone 6. Then we just ran with it right there. And then Mike Will just jumped in like, hey, yeah, me and Zay start on that. We'll do the beats for it. We'll start on it right now. And everybody was in agreement with it. So it's like, okay, that's what we're going to do. And we already started doing songs for it. Even Gucci Mane himself spoke about his intention of putting out a body of work with Drake in 2016. We mentioned that we was going to do a mixtape together, but he was on tour, and I was on house arrest. So I like working with Drake. I feel like he's super dope, and I'm the truth. So it'll be a great thing to do. But at the same time, we still got to find time to do it. Eventually, it should come out. But if not, we damn sure got Woptober coming. Unfortunately, when Woptober was released, Drake was nowhere to be found. Also, whatever the reason was that prevented Drake and Gucci Mane from dropping an entire project, it didn't get in the way of them releasing a massive hit. It would be the third Gucci Mane and Drake song that would prove to be the biggest of their collabs, a Gucci Mane track called Both that dropped in 2017. Both would end up being the song where Gucci Mane really got to cash in on just how gigantic of an artist his Canadian associate Drake had become. Both debuted at number 41 on the Billboard Hot 100, charting for 22 weeks, becoming Gucci Mane's longest charting single as a lead artist. Drake was also able to earn his 132nd chart entry, tying Lil Wayne's record count for the most chart inclusions. If that wasn't enough, both sold over 4 million copies. The songs with Drake and Andre 3000 include The Deuces All-Star Remix by Chris Brown with T.I., Kanye West, Fabulous, and Rick Ross in 2010, The Real Her, featured with Lil Wayne, I Do Remix with Jeezy and Jay-Z in 2012. By the time the legendary Atlanta hip-hop artist Andre 3000 collaborated with Drake in 2010, he had already made history as one half of the duo Outkast with his partner Big Boi, with 6 studio albums and 1 compilation album as a group released between 1994 and 2006, certified sales of 20 million records, and taken home 6 Grammy Awards. It seemed by 2010, Andre 3000 had either gone on an extensive vacation from the music industry or had retired altogether, popping up every so often for rare feature verses. Even Drake failed to get that highly desired Andre 3000 verse for his debut album, Thank Me Later. I really tried to do a song with Andre 3000, but I think it was meant for my second album. Dre is one of those people that needs you to do a little more. He's one of those people that believe in his craft so much that he needs you to do more than just be overhyped or just famous. In his mind, I have to prove myself. And the truth is, I do. That's just being real. I have a lot of work to do, so I actually respect him for that. I think on the second album, I'll probably only have 2 features. I have a few people in mind, and Dre probably will be one of them. It's not like Andre 3000 was using Drake's buzz at the time in an attempt to make some kind of comeback. He never had to record a single song ever again to prove himself, nor was he in any hurry to return to the spotlight. But finally, Andre agreed to appear on Drake's second album, Take Care, on the song The Real Her, that also featured Lil Wayne. This would be the second time that Drake had the privilege to rap alongside Andre 3000, thanks to Deuces, the remix, but back in July of 2010. Way before Drake became known for building an extensive body of work with Atlanta rappers, he made it clear how much the city's legend Andre 3000 meant to him. I have a shrine in my apartment dedicated to Andre. I took a door off a barn and had an artist take the lyrics from his verses and put them on this barn door. As soon as you walk into my apartment, that's the first thing you see. Even about a decade later, Drake was still keeping the same energy when it comes to how much he respects Andre's pen. In May of 2020, Drake took to the comments section of Instagram to share a list of his top 5 favorite rappers of all time, with one being a lesser-known Toronto-based rapper Young Tony, also known as OVO Hush. My top 5 is Biggie, Hove, Wayne, Young Tony, and 3000, since nobody asked. Clearly not taking any sides during the Kanye vs. Drake beef, in September of 2021, Andre 3000 commented through a representative what it was like having the verse he wrote for Ye's song Life of the Party not only turn into an unexpected Drake diss, but having what could have been a monumental collaboration get leaked. The track I received and wrote to didn't have the diss verse on it, and we were hoping to make a more focused offering for the Donda album, but I guess things happen like they're supposed to. It's unfortunate that it was released in this way, and 2 artists that I love are going back and forth. I wanted to be on Certified Lover Boy. I just want to work with people that inspire me. Even after appearing on 3 songs with Drake, arguably the biggest rapper in the world at the time, Andre 3000 still hasn't been in any hurry to jumpstart a new Outkast album with Big Boy, or even pursue a solo rap project for that matter. Instead, he focused on his love of playing the flute, releasing his first instrumental album, New Blue Sun, in 2023. The songs with T.I. and Drake include Poppin' Bottles in 2010, Fancy with Swizz Beatz in 2010, Deuces, which we spoke about earlier in 2010, and the Mega Mix Shoot with 2013 with a whole list of people. Not only have T.I. and Drake been on 4 songs together, including 3 of them in 2010, Poppin' Bottles from T.I.'s No Mercy album and Fancy from Drake's Thank Me Later album, T.I. revealed that Drake could have been signed to T.I.'s Grand Hustle label instead of Lil Wayne's Young Money. I passed on Drake. It was Drake before the beard, bare-faced Drake. Just hadn't caught all the way up yet. That type of music, that sound of music, the emo sound wasn't necessarily prevalent at the time. I didn't see the curve, just like I never thought skinny jeans was going to happen. That one got by me. T.I. was clearly the more dominant artist in 2010, before and after working with Drake 3 times in that year. At that point, T.I. was in the middle of a 6-album consecutive run of projects that each sold at least 1 million copies. He had Trap Music in 2003 that was platinum, Urban Legend in 2004 that was 2 times platinum, King in 2006, 2 times platinum, T.I. vs. Tip in 2007, which was platinum, Paper Trail in 2008, which was 4 times platinum, and No Mercy in 2010, which went platinum. For years, there have been whispers about what exactly Meek Mill meant on his 2015 Drake diss called Wanna Know when he said, "You let tip homies piss on you in a movie theater, we ain't forget." Was Meek Mill trying to say that Drake and T.I. had beef behind the scenes? T.I. had avoided talking about that odd situation until he finally addressed it head-on in his 2020 song We Did It Big with lyrics like, "Somehow got you home so drunk in L.A., ended up pissing on Drake, shoot, F it, that's still my brother." TMZ cited a source from that time period who claimed that the alleged urination took place during a private screening of the film Takers in 2010, a movie T.I. starred in alongside with Idris Elba, Chris Brown, and Zoe Saldana. This song appeared on T.I.'s album, The Libra, Legend is Back, run in Atlanta, claiming that the perpetrator was his late friend Terrence Cat Beasley. T.I. explained where he was coming from during an interview with Apple Music. "I didn't want it to be weaponized against anybody. I was pissed off at my partner when it happened. The wildest stuff I've ever seen before in my effing life. You know what I'm saying? But that stuff, I ain't had no malicious intent. I just don't see how it could ever be taken as a diss. I don't see how that could be. That would be someone allowing their emotions to manipulate them if so." On Club Paradise, a song produced by Drake's go-to producer and OVO Sound co-founder, Noah 40 Shabib, Drake raps about tips he got from Tip, also known as T.I. "And I was told once things will change by a named Tip when my deal came. Told me it's all good even when it feels strange. Now I'm that guy that know them strippers by their real names." Years later, T.I. told Hip Hop DX on the red carpet of the 2022 BET Hip Hop Awards what exactly his advice was that inspired Drake and made it onto the second verse of Drake's song Club Paradise. "Man, to be honest with you, I just told him to enjoy it. Enjoy the moment, because when you first coming in, you're working so hard, creating a name for yourself and building your brand, you don't get a chance to enjoy these moments. And once those expectations are created for you, the moment changes. It's never the same. That's what I learned from my experience, and I just wanted to pass that down to him. And it seems that he's done phenomenally well with that advice." There's no other Atlanta rapper who has recorded more songs with Drake than Future. Between 2011 and 2022, Future Hendrix and Drizzy Drake released 18 songs together alongside the entire 11-song joint project What a Time to Be Alive. Even with over a decade of collaborating, it wasn't all smooth sailing between Future and Drake. Being that Drake had already worked with established Atlanta artists like Jeezy, Gucci Mane, André 3000, and T.I., you could make the argument that Future was the first Atlanta rapper that Drake cooked up with that really benefited more from working with Drake than Drake did from working with them. First of all, Drake was literally on the remix for Future's very first single, Tony Montana, in 2011. At this point, Drake had already released a pair of hit projects, the gold-selling So Far Gone EP and his quadruple platinum-selling debut album, Thank Me Later. Not to mention, when the Tony Montana remix dropped with Drake on it in July of 2011, Drake was also gearing up to release something even bigger, his sophomore album Take Care, later that fall. The lead-off single Marvin's Room from Drake's Take Care had already been released and would go on to be a triple platinum song. Future was still about a year away from releasing his first studio album, Pluto, but during a November 2011 interview with The Source magazine, Future made it clear that it wasn't all high fives with Drake, especially when the superstar didn't appear in Future's Tony Montana music video that was filmed in the Dominican Republic. I salute Drake for even just getting on the record. That shows a lot about his character. And just to shed more light on the record, so many people from Atlanta wanted to get on this record. And for me, it's basically a slap in my face because so many people from Atlanta say you should have did it with someone who was going to be in the video, who wanted to be a part of the video. Then in 2013, a year when Drake and Future would appear on 3 more songs together, Love Me by Lil Wayne, For Real featuring Future, and Shit Megamix by Mike Will made it, Future made the claim that he was the one that inspired Drake's hit Started From the Bottom. I was in the studio when Drake was making the record. I had the record Chosen One. I always tell my engineer Started From the Bottom. Drake thought I was talking about a song, so when I played Chosen One, he was waiting for me to say Started From the Bottom. He bought me a bottle of Louis XIII that I've never opened up because of this story. I'm like, man, I don't want a bottle. I need publishing. Drake, that's the homie. And he was like, Started From the Bottom. It stayed on my mind. I just started saying Started From the Bottom, now we here. There continued to seem like there was some sort of competitive friction between Future and Drake in 2013 when Future made this statement. Drake made an album that is full of hits, but it doesn't grab you. They're not possessive. They don't make you feel the way I do. I want to make you want to fall in love. After Billboard put out their Future interview, Future came out saying that he was misquoted, and there were things that he did say that were removed from the article. Then 2 weeks later, Page Six made the claim that because of Future's comments, Future was booted from Drake's tour, and that Future was even in the process of hitting Drake with a lawsuit for $1.5 million in lost wages, at approximately $40,000 per show. But this got cleared up because Future would later be re-added to Drake's Would You Like a Tour concert series. Along with stating that Drake insisted on being featured on Future's Dirty Sprite 2 album, even though Future wasn't intending on having any features, Future also cleared up any speculation of tension by telling the Breakfast Club show host that any beef with Drake was dead, stating, "We resolved the issue, we way past that, back on the road, back doing music, shooting videos, OVO Fest on the way." The following month, Future joined Drake at his annual OVO Fest in Toronto, where they performed Trap, March Madness, and Where Ya At. Drake and Future further cemented their chemistry formulated in 2015, with Drake appearing on Where Ya At, becoming the only guest feature on Future's DS2 album, primarily produced by Metro Boomin. Afterward, Drake and Future teamed up for the joint mixtape, What a Time to Be Alive. Again, Metro Boomin was at the helm as executive producer. In 2016, Drake and Future combined for more success as the latter appeared on Grammys from the former's Views, and the two hit the road together on the Summer 16 tour, and many more collaborative songs dropping all the way up to 2022, including the Future song Wait For You featuring Drake that won a Grammy for Best Melodic Rap Performance. In November of 2022, Drake released his joint album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. 2 months later, rumors emerged that Future wasn't pleased with Drake's partnership with 21 Savage on the album. Then, once the Future and Metro Boomin joint project We Don't Trust You came out in 2024, fans started digging deeper into Her Loss and assumed that the song More M's had lyrics from Drake that targeted Future, with lines like, "I could really go 5 hours in the stadium. What happened to that?" Claiming OVO, "We traded him." It seemed like Drake was talking about Future, who previously claimed OVO via social media posts with his outfits, FBG OVO. With speculations about the reason behind Drake and Future's strained relationship, some claimed the rappers feuded over a woman. In Drake and 21 Savage's More M's from their album, Drake rapped, "Ain't got love for the boy, so they fake it. Crack a couple jokes to some chicks on some snake-ish. But if I send a verse to that, they'll take it. Shoot a video, arm around like we aces." Drake also rapped, "Or pop out at my shows, jump around with me on stages. Probably why these hoes love to shower me with praises. Might have effed a rapper girl, but you ain't effed Drake yet." The lyrics appear to indicate that Drake and Future may have gone to bed with the same woman that could have caused a rift between them. Apparently, this tension could involve a woman named Diana who worked at a Miami club called Booby Trap, with Drake's lyrics on Fear of Heights stating, "He might take you on trips, he might have some hits, but baby, not more than me. He might be at the trap in ones, but ain't throwing more than me." With Drake being known for slipping in subliminal messages for his detractors, his reference to the trap could be referring to Diana who works at Booby Trap, with "ain't throwing more than me" referring to cash thrown at strippers in the club. On the title track to Metro Boomin and Future's album called We Don't Trust You, Future raps, "You a #1 fan, dog. Sneak dissing, I don't understand, dog. Pillow talking, acting like a fed, dog. I don't need another fake friend, dog. Can't be about a hoe cause we sharing. Dog, in your feelings, why you playing, dog?" If there's any truth to Drake and Future feuding over a woman, then those lyrics could be aimed at Drake. Then there's the Future and Metro Boomin song titled Magic Don Juan, Princess Diana, which could be about the same woman named Diana, a song oddly enough produced by Drake's in-house OVO producer Boy Wonder. Once rumors of Drake and Future's beef began traveling, it made some fans start putting the lyrics on Drake's For All the Dogs album into a new light. The song What Would Pluto Do, named after Future's nickname Pluto, was initially thought to be about Drake paying homage to Future, with lyrics, "What would Pluto do? He'd F the hoe, so I did it. What would Pluto do? He'd definitely effing on this hoe, yeah." But with the perceived beef in mind, Drake could have been talking about him and Future sleeping with the exact same woman. Things really went left when Metro and Future released their song Like That, with the Kendrick Lamar verse that triggered the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake battle. So much so that Drake addressed Future on both Push-Ups and Family Matters, though he sounds more hurt than anything else with the lyrics from Family Matters. "Pluto-ish make me sick to my stomach. We ain't never really been through it. Lil and Wayne, he a effing lame, so I know he had to be an influence." Metro Boomin further rejected the idea that he and Future ever designed a campaign with We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You to take down Drake. People really think we sat for 2 years, making 2 albums, to be like, yo, F this dude. What kind of ish is that? You really think we're going to spend that much time, effort, resources on just trying to get at somebody on an album? Blowing budgets on 2 albums? Going over budget? That's some serious hate. Neither one of us rock like that. Whether friend or foe, the Drake effect was in full effect in Future's career, including Future's highest selling solo albums that were double platinum or more, all having a Drake feature on them. Before Atlanta rapper Titty Boy reinvented himself as 2 Chainz, he was a member of the Atlanta duo Playaz Circle, releasing 2 albums while signed to fellow Atlanta artist Ludacris' record label Disturbing the Peace that was distributed by Def Jam. As 2 Chainz, he definitely saw many benefits emerge from his collaborative friendship with Drake. In fact, Drake even appeared on 2 Chainz' debut album on the triple platinum lead single No Lies. Drake had already released his massive sophomore album Take Care that has gone on to sell over 8 million copies in the US and over 4 million copies in Canada. Drake was also riding high on Take Care, also winning a Grammy Award for Best Rap Album at the 55th Grammy Awards. Also, Drake brought 2 Chainz out on his Club Paradise tour. 2 Chainz spoke to Power 106's Just Incredible about his single No Lie featuring Drake and how the song came together. For me, I gotta be comfortable doing records if it's a feature from somebody for me. I gotta be comfortable with them doing the record when they're not there. So I picked the beat and did my verse. I didn't really give him direction, but I kinda told him, little melody, you know what I mean? Him being down with me and my campaign, like Wayne, they're really intelligent artists as well. Drizzy's aware of my campaign being true and being all about real, and he just applied it and made it a more natural song. It had to be a beat that I wanted to perform. I like performing and entertaining. I didn't want to be something that was jamming, but I didn't like performing. So this was a combination of a high-energy performance record mixed with the club feel, and it gets a little radio. 2 Chainz explained that he actually had a verse on A$AP Rocky's 2012 huge single Effin' Problems, which also featured Drake and Kendrick. So the way that record came about, this was the verse that I did for Drake. That's how I knew this dude was ill early on, right? We was working together doing No Lie. Me and Drake were doing joints back to back, just sending them back to back, and half of them never came out. At some point, 2 Chainz did a verse for Drake, which he believed he snapped on, but he never heard back about it. Much later on, while at Drake's house, who was DJing for his guest, 2 Chainz suddenly heard a line of his in a song. The verse he recorded was shifted over to Effin' Problems, with a line from that verse even becoming the chorus. But after the song blew up to become Grammy nominated for Best Rap Song and sold over 8 million copies. This was enough to help 2 Chainz get over discarding the rest of his verse. The working relationship between 2 Chainz and Drake was in full swing in 2017. They had crafted up enough joint records to produce an entire album's worth of tracks, which he explained by saying, Me and Drake gon' just remain 100, forever. I respect the man. He's talented. He's a good guy to me. And although we don't have a new song on Pretty Girls Like Trap Music, we do have 8 or 10 that's unheard. While Drake was recording his 2017 project More Life, 2 Chainz was added on the song Sacrifices, which he discussed by stating, "It was fun. We actually did about 8 records to go for his project, and he wasn't satisfied. So I learned a lot about Drake from this process, from how serious he is about making history to what he does to create a staple. I'm just happy that he picked me to be a part of Sacrifices." 2 Chainz made the announcement about his forthcoming album Pretty Girls Like Trap Music and shared a promotional trailer for the album. In this promo video, 2 Chainz receives many compliments from peers like Pharrell Williams, as well as Drake, who shared his admiration of 2 Chainz during his part of the trailer by saying, "You're like one of my favorite rappers of all time. I say that proudly. Just got the best songs." But when it's all said and done, all the credit can go to Drake when it comes to 2 Chainz profiting from his work relationships. He also has some pretty big songs with Kanye West, such as Mercy, 7 times platinum, Birthday Song, 2 times platinum, and Champions, which is platinum. Then there's 2 Chainz' extensive work with Lil Wayne, including 2 entire albums they did together called Collygrove and its sequel Welcome to Collygrove, all contributing to 2 Chainz' star power. The songs that 2 Chainz and Drake have are No Lie in 2012, Effin' Problems in 2012, I Do It in 2013, All Me with Big Sean in 2013, Big Amount in 2016, 100 Rack by DJ Esco with Future in 2016, Sacrifices with Young Thug in 2017, and Bigger Than You with Quavo in 2018. The songs with Drake and Migos include Versace 2013 remix, Portland by Drake featuring Quavo and Travis Scott, No Complaints with Metro Boomin, Walk It Like I Talk It with Drake, Bigger Than You, 2 Chainz and Quavo in 2018, Flip the Switch, Quavo in 2018, and Having Our Way in 2021. It's widely understood that Drake's 2013 remix of the song Versace was a major factor in thrusting Migos further into the mainstream. The Atlanta rap trio of Offset, Quavo, and Takeoff managed to gain their first gold-certified record, but peaked at number 99 on the Hot 100. Up until this point, Migos were still relatively unknown in a national scale. On Drake's verse, he mimicked the Migos triplet flow, introducing a wider section of Drake fans to the catchy Migos style. The song blew up to the point that Donatella Versace herself, of the actual Versace luxury clothing brand, played it as part of a runway show. Quavo explained the impact of this life-changing moment, which all began with a conversation between Drake and DJ Drama. Quavo stated, "Drama was trying to tell him, Rich Homie Quan is the new thing right now, man, and they going crazy." In the video, Drake's like, "Nah, man, have you heard Migos, though? When I seen that, I knew he wanted to work with us, but we never met him until we got to Birthday Bash when he came out. And ever since then, I sent him 2 or 3 records and he got on. He wanted to get on Pronto or Versace, and I just sent him Versace." Quavo spoke about how Drake met up with the Migos team at Hot 1079's Birthday Bash in Atlanta. "We kept hearing that Drake wanted to work with us and we ain't believe it. He real, he 1,000. He wanted to work, so we worked. He came up to us and started naming songs off the mixtape. That was crazy," Takeoff said. "If Drake came up to you naming songs off your mixtape, how you gonna feel?" Coach K of Quality Control further confirmed how Drake was so excited by the Migos' third mixtape, YRN, from June of 2013, that he wanted to get involved with the Migos early on in their career. Drake came over and was like, "Is this your group?" I said, "Yes," and he said, "I've been on their mixtape every day. It just came out on Tuesday. It was Saturday, but he called the lyrics of the songs. We exchanged numbers, and a few days later, he texted us and asked if there's a record we wanted him to get on it. We sent him 2 songs, and a couple of days later, he sent the verse for Versace, and it was so dope. Big up to Drake. That's what really changed everything for the Migos and even the whole of Atlanta." It's safe to say that had Drake hopped on a Rich Homie Quan song instead of Migos Versace, the trio's rise may have taken much longer to achieve. Quavo from the Migos appeared on Drake's 2017 More Life playlist alongside Travis on the song Portland. This turned out to be ideal timing, with the Migos still experiencing red-hot success from their hit song Bad and Bougie that peaked at number 1 on the Hot 100, a first for the Migos at the time. This lead single would help propel the Migos Culture album to hit platinum several months later. The Migos and Drake momentum continued to be a serious thing when the Metro Boomin song No Complaints dropped in 2017, featuring Drake and Offset, while he was pushing towards a solo career, with No Complaints being released 1 day short of 2013's Versace anniversary. During his annual OVO Fest performance in August of 2017, Drake pushed his bond with Migos and their QC label further by bringing out Migos for a surprise performance where they ripped through hits like Bad and Bougie and T-Shirt. 1 year after releasing the album Culture, Migos was back at it with Culture 2 in 2018 that contained the Drake-assisted song Walk It Like I Talk It. This was clearly not the era of the Versace remix any longer. The group was large enough to not have to settle for shorter verses than Drake to make the most of the moment. Their collective star power helped push Walk It Talk It to a major 6-time platinum status in the US alone. Migos had grown so undeniable that they were able to go out on tour with Drake, the artist that helped make them this famous. The Aubrey and the Three Migos Tour Live was a co-headlining tour by Drake to support his Scorpion album and the Migos to support their Culture 2 album. The tour ran between August 12, 2018 to November 18, 2018 and was spread across 54 shows, selling 877,000 tickets, becoming Drake's biggest tour up until that point, grossing over $103 million. This would be the final tour that the Three Migos members would ever do together. From then on, it was mostly just individual shows and big festival appearances when people went to see Migos live. Speaking with Billboard, Coach K, co-founder of the Migos label Quality Control, spoke about the Drake and Migos tour, reflecting on how it was a lucrative move for both sides. It was a good fit because Quavo and Drake are really good friends. They've worked on a lot of projects. They really have a lot of music together. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, shoot, but who else? I mean, Migos had such a good year. The last 2 years, they really put the work in, and I think it's a really good fit. I personally think it's a really good fit. It's going to be a monstrous tour. There would only be one more Migos group album, and it was released in 2021, which was Culture 3, with the gold-selling Drake song that didn't even end up being called a single, Having Our Way. The 2 songs off Culture 3 that were singles performed much better. They were the double platinum lead single Need It, and 1 platinum second single Straightenin'. With solo careers continuing after that, the Migos officially ended with the fatal shooting of group member Takeoff in November of 2022. The one song with Drake and ILoveMakonnen is Tuesday in 2014. Originally from California, the rapper ILoveMakonnen was based in Atlanta at the time when his music career started, the city he had relocated to at the age of 13. In 2014, as he approached the age of 25, ILoveMakonnen had essentially self-released a dozen mixtapes already when he brought to DTP Studios in Atlanta by record producer Mike Willmated, gaining the opportunity to work with the hot local producers of his generation, Metro Boomin, Sunny Digital, and 808 Mafia. His buzz began to swell when he released the song Don't Sell Molly No More, produced by Sunny Digital, who introduced him to other producers like DJ Spins, Done Deal, and Cammy Reckless. Regional fame continued to build with songs such as Living on the South Side, Sneaky Lady, and My New Friend, with Makonnen even getting placed on Mike Willmaded's Ransom mixtape. But life for ILoveMakonnen would truly change in July of 2014, when the release of his self-titled EP included singles I Don't Sell Molly No More that got posted on social media by pop singer Miley Cyrus, and Tuesday that Drake decided to hop on as a remix and help Makonnen skip to the front of the line as far as becoming the next mainstream draft pick. Drake literally asked Sunny Digital, the producer of Tuesday, for permission to remix the song in August of 2014, which Makonnen had no problem agreeing to. Then, in about 48 hours, Drake's ask turned into a reality when the Tuesday remix was born. This major development also coincided with ILoveMakonnen being featured in XXL's magazine's The Come Up section that same month, which highlighted new upcoming artists. Around that time, ILoveMakonnen made it clear that he wasn't desperate for a major label record tour, with plans to go make music and go on tour independently. But apparently it only took a matter of days to change his mind, because on September 1st, 2014, it was announced that ILoveMakonnen had signed to Drake's OVO Sound label, which is distributed by Warner Brothers. But the Makonnen honeymoon phase with OVO unfortunately was very short-lived, only releasing 2 EPs and Tuesday being the only song Drake would ever do with him. Makonnen claimed industry politics stopped his other songs, Teach Me How to Whip It and No Ma'am, from hitting the radio, and when asked if he was still in contact with Drake prior to getting dropped from OVO Sound, his reply was, "Here and there. By this time this comes out, I'll probably see him 6 more times or no more times. I don't know. I just wish everybody well in all that they do, and I just go on and live my life and try to uplift mother effers. At the end of the day, I'm tired of uplifting people. I just gotta uplift myself now because everything else is a waste of time." The songs with Drake and 21 Savage include Sneakin' in 2016, Mr. Right Now with Metro Boomin in 2020, Knife Talk with Project Pat in 2021, Jimmy Cooks in 2022, the Her Loss album the same year, Callin' For You in 2023, and It's Up with Young Thug in 2024. About 7 years after releasing an entire double platinum album with Future, Drake would do it again, this time releasing another double platinum duet album called Her Loss with 21 Savage. The Her Loss album, along with 6 other collaboration songs between 2016 and 2024, makes 21 Savage the Atlanta rapper with the second most songs with Drake after Future. Prior to the release of 21 Savage's first link-up with Drake on October 29, 2016, 21 Savage had been releasing music since 2013, but his true breakout year was 2016 when his EP with Metro Boomin called Savage Mode dropped on July 15th that was certified gold, containing two huge hits, the double platinum song No Heart and the triple platinum song X that featured Future. 21 also had the platinum track called Red Ops that was featured on his EP with producer Sunny Digital called Free Guap. When 21 Savage was hitting his stride in the rap scene in 2016, Drake crowned the young Atlanta rapper a young October king with all the juice right now when wishing 21 Savage a happy 24th birthday. 21 Savage wanted to be in the driver's seat of a Ferrari to cruise the streets of Beverly Hills for his birthday, and that's exactly what Drake gave him. People assume that Drake purchased the bright red Ferrari for 21, but 21 Savage cleared that up by saying, "Nah, he ain't buy me no car. He did some real stuff. We was just talking, and I was like, man, I want a Ferrari or something. So he just got me one of those for the whole time I was in LA for my birthday, but I fell in love with the car, so I just went and bought one. He looked out. Shout out to Drake. Y'all ain't doing stuff like that. People barely even tell people happy birthday." The 21 Savage and Drake partnership may have been more mutually beneficial than many people realize. Drake was beginning to get criticized for his aging Playboy image and for being labeled a cultural chameleon. 21 Savage brought in new youthful energy and street credibility to add some edge to Drake's commercial appeal. 21 described working with Drake by saying, "Drake's just a genuine-ass good-hearted person. He did a lot of stuff he didn't have to do. He did a lot of stuff for up-and-coming rappers, period. I don't think he gets his respect for that. Every effing year he pull a new artist up. Ain't no other artist on his level do that stuff." After spending 2018 cementing his one-of-a-kind hit-making ability with Scorpion, Drake joined forces with 21 once again in the midst of the pandemic for Mr. Right Now, where they discussed their love for classic R&B over Metro Boomin's production. Mr. Right Now has arguably become most memorable for Drake's revelation about dating SZA when she was just a teenager, where he raps, "Yeah, said she wanna F to some SZA, wait, cause I used to date SZA back in '08. If you cool with it, baby, she can still play." Oddly enough, according to 21 Savage, in 2021, the part of Atlanta where he's from doesn't gravitate towards Drake's music, even admitting that before becoming friends with Drake, he didn't even listen to much of Drake's music either. People don't be listening to Drake like that where we are. If I wasn't a rapper, I don't feel like I would still listen to Drake. For real. It's just I'm a rapper, so I understand the work he puts in and how hard he goes. When you ain't no rapper, all them statistics don't mean nothing. But Drake and 21 Savage's Slaughter Gang built a bond to the point that they don't even charge each other for guest verses, according to 21's manager Justin Measy Williams during a Clubhouse chat with Drewski in early 22. A lot of the artists, they're low-key peers, so stuff just be happening naturally. A dude might be in the studio, somebody asks, "Hey, can you do this song?" And it happens, because people F with each other, so you ain't gotta talk about money. During the 22 rollout for 21 Savage and Drake's album Her Loss, they released a series of media spoofs, a fake Vogue cover, a false Tiny Desk concert, a pretend Saturday Night Live performance, and an imaginary Howard Stern interview. Howard Stern actually saluted them for the shrewd marketing movie, but Vogue's parent company Condé Nast filed a lawsuit over trademark infringement. Condé Nast demanded $4 million in damages, and Drake's legal team reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum. Condé Nast's attorneys made the claim that Vogue attempted to resolve the matter amicably, but they alleged that their efforts were ignored by OVO and 21 Savage's Slaughter Gang Enterprises. Her Loss ended up debuting at the top of Billboard, providing Drake with his second #1 album in under 5 months. Ever since Meek Mill's ghostwriting allegations against Drake in 2015, co-writing has become a touchy subject when it comes to Drake, but it has become much less of an issue when it comes to Drake's working relationship with 21 Savage, with the two artists showing transparency regarding this topic by admitting that they helped each other with their verses for Her Loss album. 21 Savage revealed, "I ain't gon' cap, Drake wrote some of my verses on this album. These facts. I don't give a F what a man say. Drake helped me with some of my verses on this album." Drake also shared that 21 Savage assisted his pen as well by stating, "By the way, you also helped me with stuff too." This level of comfort with one another's talent has clearly gone a long way because Drake continued to invite 21 to appear on his songs, such as Callin' For You in 2023 and It's Up with Young Thug in 2024. The one song with Drake and Trouble is Bring It Back with Mike Will Made It in 2017. Trouble was another Atlanta rapper, much like Makonnen, that would only record one song that featured Drake. He built up his name from releasing 8 independent mixtapes. Then he secured a guest spot alongside the Migos on YFN Lucci's 2016 platinum single, Key to the Streets. In 2017, he signed with Mike Willmade's Eardrummer Records that was backed by Interscope for Trouble's debut album Edgewood in 2018. The album cracked the Billboard 200 chart with the help of the single Bring It Back that featured Drake. This helped pave the way for Def Jam Recordings to release Trouble's second album, Thug Love, in 2020, which unfortunately didn't chart at all. It all began for Trouble when he hit the rap scene in 2011 with his very first mixtape, December 17th, that already had some big names on it like Trey the Truth, Yo Gotti, and Waka Flocka Flame, garnering a spot on Complex's 25 best mixtapes of 2011. In August of that same year, Complex also included Trouble on its list of 15 new rappers to watch out for. 2 years later, in 2013, XXL added Trouble to their 15 Atlanta rappers you should know list. Then in 2015, Trouble found himself getting to rap on Lupe Fiasco's album Tetsuo's Youth, along with Glasses Malone, Trey the Truth, Billy Blue, Buck, and Family for the song Chopper. The following year was Trouble's appearance on YFN Lucci's single Key to the Streets, which peaked at number 70. It would be 2 years later in 2018 when Trouble would be signed to Mike Willmade, who produced Trouble's studio album Edgewood, that not only featured Drake but was also bolstered by big names, many of which had worked with Drake in the past, like The Weeknd, Quavo, and Offset. Drake even appeared in the 7-minute black and white short film music video for the Trouble song Bring It Back that Drake was featured on. Mike Willmade talked about how Drake got involved with Trouble. Me and Trouble did the whole project in like 3 to 4 days. I let Drake hear it, and Drake was like, yo, that song is crazy. And he ended up hopping on that joint, smoking and stuff. We shot the video and everything. Unfortunately, Trouble's career in life would be cut down way too soon at age 34 when he was shot dead in a home invasion in the early mornings just before 3:30 a.m., following a night of partying. The deadly shooting occurred inside the Lake St. James apartment complex in Conyers, Georgia, with Trouble being shot once in the chest. Authorities reported that Trouble was staying there with an unidentified female companion at the time that the shooter, who didn't know Trouble, broke into the home and killed him in what was alleged to be a domestic dispute. Making matters more eerie, just a month before his death, Trouble had uploaded an Instagram post about life not being promised. Life short AF, dog. SMH. Never know when your number gonna be called. Be grateful. Forgive. Don't forget. Killer Mike, the Atlanta half of the hip-hop duo Run the Jewels, wrote on Twitter, God bless the dead. He was a good man, gone too soon. 2 Chainz, who appeared on Trouble's 2020 album Thug Love, also paid his respects on Twitter, writing, Man, you had me crying laughing at P Party, bruh. Real solid individual. Shoot crazy, we gotta post this stuff. I swear I hate the devil, man, and he out here working overtime. Praying for your family and peace, my brother. Even Drake acknowledged the life and death of Trouble by posting a commemorative picture of the fallen rapper on Instagram. This is clearly a site where Drake had nothing to gain from working with Trouble. The songs with Drake and Young Thug include Sacrifices in 2017 with 2 Chainz, Ice Melts that same year, Solid with Gunna in 2021, Way Too Sexy with Future in the same year, Bubbly with Travis Scott that same year, Parade on Cleveland in 2023, Oh You Went that same year, and It's Up in 2024. In the 6 years before Young Thug ever collaborated with Drake, he was busy building up a massive output of 12 mixtapes, 6 that were self-released, 5 through Gucci Mane's 1017 Records, and 1 in collaboration with Rich Homie Quan and Baby, also known as Birdman, a trio called Rich Gang, The Tour. Then there were 5 more commercially released mixtapes that Young Thug put out between 2015 and 2017 while he was signed to 300 Entertainment and Atlantic Records, 3 of them earning a gold plaque. Oddly enough, the gold-selling Young Thug mixtape was called Barter 6, which originally was going to be called Carter 6, referring to Lil Wayne's Carter album series that was up to its 5th edition at this point in 2015. This caused a huge rift with Lil Wayne, who Young Thug claimed was his idol and was also the man that signed Drake, who Young Thug would soon become friends with. It appears that the name choice may have had something to do with Lil Wayne's feud with Birdman, who Thug was working with at the time and had discovered Lil Wayne and put him in the music industry as a kid. All that work doesn't even include the over 50 personal songs and features that had Young Thug rapping alongside stars like Kanye West, Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, Wyclef Jean, T.I., Travis Scott, Tyga, Gucci Mane, Yo Gotti, and Lil Yachty. Considering that Young Thug was already part of a dozen songs that sold over 500,000 copies or better before he ever released any songs with Drake, it's fair to say he was already a big deal. In fact, Young Thug's very first 2 collabs with Drake were from Drake's 4x platinum project More Life, appearing on Sacrifices that also featured 2 Chainz and Ice Melts. This was also accomplished before Young Thug had even released his debut studio album, quote-unquote. For years, Drake has complained in his lyrics and on social media about rappers in the music industry that have switched sides or don't show him any loyalty. Maybe this is why the relationship between Drake and Young Thug stands out from many of the others, because it seems to go beyond just doing features on each other's songs to share audiences for mutual gain. Young Thug stuck up for Drake during his infamous battle with Pusha T, and Drake was supportive of Young Thug during his fight for freedom during the racketeer influence and corrupt organizations, also known as RICO case. Starting with Drake's battle against Pusha T that Drake eventually bowed out of, Young Thug made it known when it seemed that Pusha T was still taking verbal shots at Drake several years after it all ended. In 2020, Young Thug argued back and forth with Pusha T on Drake's behalf because of a leaked song that was intended for deceased rapper Pop Smoke's posthumous debut album, a song both Pusha T and Young Thug were to be featured on. Young Thug was upset after Pusha T accused Drake of complaining to Republic Records about the contents of Pusha's verse on this unreleased track, Paranoia.
You already went crazy the first time, so you ain't even got it. Ain't nothing but a sucker going on double takes and triple takes and quadruple takes. You should have just got all of it out on the first song. You put the first song out. You ain't even had to do all that on those niggas. You just feel like you ain't gonna get enough views on your own shit, so you came and put some bullshit on a whole nother a nigga who's resting in peace music, trying to fuck up a nigga whole vibe. Cause you feel like, but this is the perfect platform. Thug, Gunna, and Pop Smoke. This is the perfect platform to at this nigga ass. This is the perfect song to do it on. Why the fuck you ain't do that shit on your own song? Do that shit on your own song, nigga.
The Pusha T lyrics that Young Thug seemed to have a problem with because they drifted into Drake diss territory include, "You know reality bites, it's chess not checkers. Those empty threats only sound good on your records. If the patois not followed by a blocker, it's like Mark for Death Screwface without the chopper. Let him rush the stage when you made like Sinatra, only to hide the blade flying back through LaGuardia. I might even buy a home out in Mississauga." The lyrics seem to reference the onstage fight that broke out at Pusha T's November 2018 show in Drake's home of Toronto. Pusha suggested that Drake hired people to throw beer at him during his performance. Also, Mississauga is a Canadian city that's part of the greater Toronto area. Young Thug made it clear that he stood by Drake by declaring, "I don't respect the Pusha T verse on the song with me and Gunna cause I don't have nothing to do with y'all beef, nor does Gunna, and if I knew that was about him, I would have made changes on our behalf." Pusha T responded to Young Thug with an Instagram story to get his point across about his verse. "Don't feel bad. Nobody knew what the verse was about. The label heads that stopped it didn't even know. They only assumed because he told them. The same he told about the Ross Maybach 6 verse. And if he'll tell record executives about rap verses, God only knows what else he'll tell. I don't deal in police work, police rappers, or police guys. Young Thug, you were the last verse added to the song, and that's only because I requested you. And most important, Young Thug, just so we're clear, I would never look or need your respect for what it is I bring to this rap game." Pusha T also tagged his manager Steven Victor, who happened to also be the manager for Pop Smoke, to remove his verse from the deluxe edition of Pop Smoke's album. When it comes to Drake returning the loyalty to Young Thug and supporting him, it happened several times during Young Thug's high-profile court case. Young Thug was locked up between May of 2022 and Halloween of 2024 after he and 27 others, including fellow Atlanta rapper Gunna, who later pleaded his way out of jail. This move by Gunna was much to the dislike of peers associated with YSL, who were arrested as part of a RICO case against the team. Prosecutors in Fulton County, Georgia, accused the YSL collective of being a criminal street gang that they claim are responsible for violent crimes that include murder and robbery in the Atlanta area. Young Thug himself was hit with 8 charges, among them being conspiracy to violate the RICO Act and participation in criminal street gang activity, as well as several drug and weapons offenses. In May of 2022, trap music historian and the author of Trap History, A.R. Shaw, spoke about the concerning use of Young Thug's lyrics in his court case, along with positive deeds Young Thug has done in the community surrounding Cleveland Ave in South Atlanta. We don't see this in any other entertainment except rap, where lyrics are used in the courtroom. It's definitely worrisome because we don't know what the prosecutors will use as far as lyrics. And a lot of times when it comes to rap, a lot of times it's hyperbole. Young Thug has done things as well. He's worked with the Atlanta Food Bank to provide food for individuals in the city. Also, Young Thug and Gunna, they teamed up last year to give bond for nonviolent inmates in the Fulton County Jail. So we've seen them give back. We've seen that these kids at McNeil Middle School know that someone who comes from their community came back and gave them something that no one had ever given. At the end of the day, they're all entertainers. Hopefully, the kids in this case who look up to them can see that and the good that they've done and actually take from that. Some of the lyrics that have reportedly been looked at to use against Young Thug during that case were DJ Esco's, Who song with Future where he said, "They gon' hate on me cause I'm at the top with bro though. Oh, head honcho, hold up, kick in your mom door, shoot with the fofo." The song Dream with Yak Gotti. "Hey, how you doing? I'm Yak Gotti. I got bodies on bodies." Young Thug's Thuggin' 30. Money longer than the world's longest ruler. Playing with YSL. They gon' shoot you, yeah. And the Slime-ish. "Hey, this that Slime-ish. Hey, YSL-ish. Killing 12-ish. F jail. Hey, cooking white brick. I'm not new to this. I'm so true to this. Done put whole slime on 100 licks." Drake has stepped up over the years as a supporter of Young Thug, rapping "Free Big Slime Out the Cage" on the song Sticky from the Honestly Nevermind album in 2022. And in June of 2023, Drake joined Young Thug on Parade on Cleveland from Thug's album Business is Business and stated that Young Thug's release from jail would cause a major celebration in Atlanta. Then in October of 2024, Drake took to his IG stories to speak about his close relationship with Young Thug and to seemingly confirm that he has supplied the once incarcerated rapper money while he's getting back on his feet. In the video clip, Drake is seen wearing Young Thug's Spider clothing brand and saying, "I ain't talking to talk, man. I really put up money on the briefcase emoji, 3 Jeff." The rumors about what Drake's financial support to his friend Young Thug heated up even more when academics literally made the claim that Drake gave Young Thug $1 million in cash during a post-prison visit. On October 31st, 2024, Young Thug was sentenced to time served and 15 years of probation, and he was set free later that night. He was also given 100 hours of community service, a ban on contact with gang members or former co-defendants, and he's not allowed to be in the metropolitan Atlanta area for the first 10 years of his probation, except for weddings, funerals, and graduations, but must leave within 48 hours of those events ending. Also, Young Thug must return to the area 4 times a year for each year of his probation to host an anti-gang and anti-gun presentation. Shortly after, academics claimed that Drake lived up to his words when it came to providing financial support to Young Thug in a matter of hours after Young Thug was released after his long RICO trial. Young Thug still has seemed to show hope for the future between Future and Metro Boomin to reconcile with Drake by declaring, "Drake, Future, Metro Boomin, we all brothers. Music ain't the same without us collabing." Once again, Young Thug proved that he still had loyalty to Drake even when issues involved other fellow Atlanta rappers. This gesture even prompted a sign of optimism from Future, who actually retweeted the message, even at a time when Future and Drake's relationship still seemed to be up in the air. The songs with Drake and Lil Baby include Yes Indeed in 2018, Never Recover with Gunna that same year, Wants and Needs in 2021, alongside Girls Want Girls, and Staying Alive by DJ Khaled in 2022. Where was Atlanta rapper Lil Baby's career at before landing his first Drake feature in 2018? He basically built up much of his reputation the year before by releasing 4 mixtapes: Perfect Timing, Harder Than Hard, To the Hard Way, and Too Hard, his first mixtape to go gold. The year of 2017 is also when Lil Baby started popping up regularly as a featured artist on other people's songs. He even had 3 lead songs: My Dog, which went platinum, All of a Sudden featuring Moneybagg Yo, which was platinum, and Freestyle, which was triple platinum. Signed to Quality Control, the group that already made the Migos superstars, Lil Baby was able to leverage Drake's working relationship with the company's team to his benefit when Drake was featured on Yes Indeed, the second single on Lil Baby's debut album Harder Than Ever in 2018. Up until this point, Lil Baby had already proven that he had the talent and the potential to be a star, but it was the explosion of Yes Indeed with Drake that broadened Lil Baby's audience. Yes Indeed grabbed a peak position of number 6 on the Hot 100 and went on to sell over 7 million copies in the US alone. This energized Lil Baby's career as well as anticipation for his platinum-selling debut album Harder Than Ever. After Drake already made magic happen with the Migos, another Atlanta act signed to Quality Control, Lil Baby seemed to be following in their footsteps towards success. Lil Baby spoke with The Fader in 2018 about how he had met Drake much earlier before they began releasing any music together. "Me and Drake first met a long time ago, but we established in 2018 that we were going to make it happen. We just kicked it, chopped it up, or whatever. Then he sent me a song. I got on the song and he actually sent it back to let me have it." Along with Lil Baby and Drake's vocals on Yes Indeed, the catchy beat was a key factor in its addictiveness. The producer, Weezy, said that the collaboration began after a missed encounter with Drake while working with Kanye West in Wyoming. "My last day there, Drake showed up. I had an early flight, so I had to go ahead and go back to my cabin. I'm on the flight, and the dude was like, 'Bro, I didn't even know that was you last night, bro. I feel so dumb, bro.' I flew back to LA. A day later, Drake came. He was like, 'Yo, pull up to the house, let's get it.' I opened up the program and just started pressing stuff. Sometimes I'll have a beat in my head, but with me, it starts with the sound first rather than me thinking about the pattern." Back in August of 2021, Lil Baby explained how Drake's work ethic on the mic has pushed Lil Baby to step it up in the studio. It takes me longer to rap because, I don't really care what I say on a song. You feel me? I just freestyle. But with Drake, I be trying to think about it. And that's what makes it harder for me because, I'm thinking. When I don't think, I just rap. So then, because it's Drake, I kind of get damn. So I got to make sure. Now it's kind of But my next album, I'm writing it. Every song, I'm writing it. So it's going to be more detailed. Right now, I freestyle, so only the top of my brain comes out. Coming off a quadruple platinum second studio album in 2020, My Turn, Lil Baby was really ready to prove that it was his turn to be sitting on top, even if that meant sharing the throne with Drake. In fact, in 2022, Lil Baby closed out the year in a tie with Drake for the most Billboard Hot 100 placements of that year. According to chart data, Lil Baby and Drake each got 40 Billboard Hot 100 singles in 2022, including their joint effort as part of Khaled's song Stayin' Alive, which peaked at number 5 that year. Stayin' Alive also allowed Drake to break the Beatles' 55-year record for the most top 5 singles on the chart, with 30 over the course of his career. The majority of Drake's other Hot 100 hits were off of his two highly anticipated 2022 releases, Honestly Nevermind and Her Loss. Lil Baby set a major record of his own in 2022 as well with the release of his third studio album, It's Only Me. As soon as the project's 23-song tracklist entered the Hot 100 charts in its first week, the Atlanta rapper was crowned the youngest solo artist and the third overall to get an entire album onto the charts. The release also joined Lil Baby songs like Stayin' Alive and 2017's Freestyle to give Baby 25 songs on the Billboard list simultaneously. Let's not forget that Lil Baby's 2022 numbers were also lifted up by making featured appearances along the likes of Ed Sheeran, Nicki Minaj, Gunna, Nav, Roddy Ricch, and Chris Brown. Lil Baby's another Atlanta rapper that could be added to the ongoing saga of Drake wanting to do full-length collaborative efforts with artists from the city. This information was revealed in March of 2023 by producer Black Coffee, who worked with Drake on projects like More Life and for Honestly Nevermind, claiming that he originally heard the news from Quality Control co-founder Coach K. Black Coffee said, "He had said to me, Lil Baby and Drake are making an album. It's possible that Drake is retiring." After a year and a half had passed since this claim was made, this team project hasn't come to fruition as of yet. In August of 2023, Lil Baby publicly expressed the comfortable creativity that he has with Drake when the two are together in the studio. It's just he's a beast and I'm a beast. All his songs massive. Almost any song I'm on is massive. So it's like we're a cheat code together almost. It's two superpowers. You can't go wrong. There's a cool energy. Man, we've had a relationship for 5-6 years now. So it's more of like a family thing versus just a vibe. When I'm with Drake, it's like I'm here with one of the bros. The songs with Drake and Gunna include Never Recover with Lil Baby in 2018, Solid with Young Thug in 2021, and P-Power in 2022. With Atlanta rappers Lil Baby, Young Thug, and Gunna all being connected to one another at one point. Another thing they have in common was each of them having multiple Drake collaboration songs. Gunna was introduced to Young Thug through Keith King Troop, a friend that they had in common who died in December of 2015. Gunna would later be featured alongside rappers Travis and Gucci on the Young Thug song Floyd Mayweather from his commercial mixtape Jeffrey on August 26, 2016, released through 300. Then on October 14, 2016, Gunna released his debut commercial mixtape Drip Season. The following year, in 2017, Gunna returned with the second mixtape Drip Season 2, and later that year, on November 30th, Gunna put out his debut EP Drip or Drown. Things really started taking off with the February 2nd, 2018 release of Gunna's third commercial mixtape, Drip Season 3, which became his first project to chart on the Billboard 200, peaking at number 55. When it was time for Gunna and Drake to share songs together, all three of their offerings turned out to be hits. First, there was the double platinum song Never Recover in 2018 that Gunna and Lil Baby did together that featured Drake and peaked at number 15. But the 2018 song Drip Too Hard that only had Gunna and Lil Baby was his biggest, peaking at number 4 on the Hot 100, and was a huge moneymaker, receiving diamond certification by the RIAA for selling over 10 million copies in the US, and was nominated for Best Rap Sung Performance at the 62nd Annual Grammy Awards. The second Drake feature happened in 21, which was a Young Thug and Gunna track called Solid that peaked at number 12 and earned a gold plaque. And finally, there was a third song in 22, which is the first song that it was just Drake and Gunna, called P-Power. This track peaked at number 24 and was also certified gold. Unfortunately, as of 2024, Gunna seems to have problems with not just his previous rap partner Lil Baby, but also with Young Thug and Drake. This may have a lot to do with Gunna being perceived as a snitch by some of his peers because of his plea deal for early release from incarceration during the YSL RICO case that he and Young Thug were previously wrapped up in. By the time we get to the May 10th, 2024 release of Gunna's fifth album, One of One, it seems like not only have Gunna's string of Drake features dried up, with Drake nowhere to be found on the album, but there are also signs that there is tension between the two. There are several subtle jabs that seem to be aimed directly at Drake. On the song Still Prevail, Gunna raps, "I clear all the tabs, they pay for their abs." These lyrics seem to be Gunna referring to claims that have been previously made by Kendrick Lamar on Euphoria and Rick Ross on Champagne Moments that Drake allegedly underwent surgery to buy himself a more defined stomach. Gunna doesn't stop there, bouncing from the subject of Drake's abs to his long-term ghostwriter allegations on the song Collage, rapping, "Thank God I didn't need a writer. I work, but they think they entitled." Kendrick Lamar also touched on this topic during his battle with Drake on the song Euphoria, where Kendrick seems to even rope Gunna into his Drake diss with lines like, "We ain't gotta get personal, this a friendly fade. You should keep it that way. I know some ish about dudes that make Gunna wanna look like a saint." And when it comes to the writer aspect, it could also be a shot at Lil Baby because Lil Baby had previously been interviewed saying that Gunna was helping him write and teaching him how to write before he started rapping. Between Gunna and Young Thug, Drake's loyalty is clearly geared towards Young Thug. Therefore, maybe with Young Thug and Gunna's friendship looking like it has cooled off since Gunna made his plea bargain deal back in December of 2022 during the YSL RICO case that made Gunna a free man that exact same day. Court footage revealed that Gunna answered yes to a few questions while accepting his plea deal, affirming that YSL was both a record label and a gang. And Gunna also stated that he had knowledge of crimes committed, that guns and drugs found by police during a search in a car that he was in along with Young Thug did not belong to him, that YSL was a gang that must come to an end, and that he furthered that the alleged crimes of the YSL collective through his music. Oddly enough, even after Gunna's snitching allegations began circulating, Gunna was still signed to Young Thug's YSL label and still is. And if there's any truth to Young Thug and Gunna being at odds, it's not far-fetched to think that the Drake and Gunna connection has ended. The only song with Drake and Playboi Carti is Pain 1993 with Drake in 2020. By the time that Drake locks in with Playboi Carti for their one and only collaboration for the 2020 song Pain 1993 from Drake's Dark Lane Demo Tapes mixtape, Playboi Carti was already a proven entity in the industry. Having first put out music on SoundCloud back in 2011, everything changed with the release of his self-titled mixtape in 2017, his first project released after signing to A$AP Rocky's AUG label with Interscope, a platinum release that peaked at number 12 on the Billboard 200. But the Playboi Carti mixtape also offered 3 serious hits, 2 that featured Lil Uzi Vert, which were Lookin' and Woke Up Like This, which is double platinum, and Lookin' is gold. But the song Magnolia with no features has been Playboi Carti's biggest hit to date, that went triple platinum and managed to peak at number 29 on the Hot 100. So Playboi Carti really hasn't needed the so-called Drake stimulus package to magnify his exposure. In June of 2017, Playboi Carti was in XXL's 2017 freshman class, which was a sign of his rising stardom in the music industry. And also that same year, Carti expressed how much he admired the fashion designer Raf Simons and was featured on A$AP Mob's song Raf, which was a dedication to him. The music video featured Playboi Carti, A$AP Rocky, and Quavo, who wore rare Raf Simons designed clothing. In May of 2018, Carti released his debut album, Die Lit, which debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200, marking a major milestone in his career. In 2019, Carti founded Opium, the record label and creative agency alongside Opium Baby, and the label now features notable acts like Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, the up-and-coming Homicide Gang, and is known for its experimental sound, combining dark, gritty synths with rage beats. Also, between 2017 and 19, Carti was making headlines for dating and breaking up with celebrities like Blac Chyna, Ruby Rose, probably a little bit earlier, and Iggy Azalea, whom he also has a son with. Both of Playboi Carti's first 2 official albums, Die Lit and Whole Lotta Red, were both certified gold in the US. Carti first made his debut feature with Drake on the song Pain 1993 from Drake's Dark Lane Demo Tapes project in 2020, and he also had writing credits on Drake's single Jumbotron-ish Poppin', but these two have seemed to be butting heads in 2024. First off, after the Kendrick Lamar and Drake feud, Carti and Drake appeared to distance themselves from one another because either Carti didn't clear his feature for Drake's song No Face, a collaboration that was part of Drake's 100 gigs data dump of videos and songs that took place in August of 2024, or Drake removed Carti from No Face for his own reasons. When Drake initially previewed the song, Carti was on it, but when the song was officially released, that Carti verse was nowhere to be found. But oddly enough, Carti did in fact have his feature with the Toronto R&B singer and longtime Drake rival and pop star The Weeknd cleared. This would not be the first time that the two ex-Drake associates have collaborated. Just about a year before, in 2023, The Weeknd, Carti, and iconic pop star Madonna did a big platinum-selling song together called Popular that debuted and peaked at number 43 on the Hot 100. Hidda J3, Kendrick Lamar's close friend, cousin, and some would also say Kendrick's muscle from Compton, has made it clear that his personal friendship with Carti is so strong that Carti is on Kendrick Lamar's side when it comes to Kendrick's war of words with Drake, to the point that Hidda J3 claims to have even been invited to Thanksgiving dinner with Playboi Carti before. Hidda J3 started going at Toronto street rapper Top 5 online in defense of Kendrick Lamar when Top 5 made threats to anyone supporting Kendrick in his battle against Drake. So where does this put the Drake and Playboi Carti relationship at? In October 2024, in the beginning of Drake's birthday month, Drake reportedly went on an unfollow spree on social media. He dropped previous celebrity friends from his Instagram profile like NBA basketball players LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan, along with rappers Kendrick Lamar, Joe Budden, and Playboi Carti as well. The songs with Drake and Yachty include Oprah's Bank Account in 2020 and Another Late Night in 2023, not including writing credits. Before Drake hopped on Yachty's song Oprah's Bank Account and Drake returned the favor on Yachty's Another Late Night, Lil Yachty already had some pretty big hits to his name. One Night went double platinum in Minnesota with fellow QC artists Quavo and Young Thug, along with Skippa da Flippa, sold over 1 million copies. Then Lil Yachty struck platinum again with the song Peekaboo with his label mates Migos, and gold-selling single Who Want the Smoke with Cardi B and Offset. With Yachty being signed to the Atlanta-based Quality Control label, it comes as no surprise that Drake would link up with one of their newer hot artists, although it felt like a time where Yachty was getting cold. Quality Control has had such a storied history of success that they were bought by South Korean music company Hybe in a deal that was reportedly for $300 million in 2023. Lil Yachty counts as not only the 15th Atlanta rapper that Drake has worked with that we have covered, but he's also the youngest. Rappers like Jeezy, Gucci Mane, T.I., André 3000, and Future were all older than Drake, with enough experience to provide some degree of mentorship to him. But by the time we get further down the list to the Migos, Young Thug, Gunna, and 21 Savage, Drake is older, but only by about 5 or 6 years. In comparison, Lil Yachty is practically 11 years younger than Drake, making him at least a whole generation after him, and someone who literally grew up with Drake's music way before Yachty became famous. This seems to explain why Lil Yachty has become arguably the most influential artist during the For All the Dogs era of Drake's career, where he's projecting much younger energy, even during a year where Drake turned 37 years old. For instance, Drake shared more videos of himself playing with his son. He wore much baggier jeans, colorful clothing, and vintage jerseys, a transformation that was probably also impacted by not just Yachty, but Drake's stylist, Drew Ferguson. But then there's also For All the Dogs' hairstyle switch, with Drake wearing barrettes and beads in his hair, or barrettes, something similar to what Yachty has been known to do. Drake was even down to wear women's nail polish on his fingernails, something he himself has given Yachty credit for inspiring. You told me to paint my nails, so I stopped biting them, and now the world is being homophobic for the first time since Rich Flex, which wasn't that long ago now that I think about it. Wait, is the world homophobic? SMH. Also, it was reported that during Drake's 7-day stop in New York City for his It's All a Blur tour, that Drake shopped at one of Yachty's go-to vintage stores, First Team Vintage. He's also been pulling away from rocking more established clothing brands like Stone Island and Chrome Hearts that he has been known for, and jumping into more up-and-coming brands like Domenico Formicetti's PDF. The reason why there's a chance that this may be Yachty's style rubbing off on him is because of just how tapped in Yachty has been with new apparel companies like Aris Tatalovich and Filthy. Drake was even willing to coordinate fur coats with Yachty when the two attended 21 Savage's Freaknik party. Lil Yachty has also stepped up as a spokesman for Drake, an artist known for not doing too many interviews. Rumors were swirling that Drake was taking shots at Megan Thee Stallion on the song Circo Loco when he rapped, "This chick lie about getting shots, but she's still a stallion. She don't even get the joke, but she's still smiling." When Megan herself assumed that Drake's lines were referring to her highly publicized incident where Tory Lanez had been accused of shooting her, she demanded that people stop using her shooting situation for clout and called rappers lame for doing it. Lil Yachty came to Drake's rescue to clarify things. I know Drake is not going to address it. It's about women lying about their butt shots, saying their ass is real when it's fake. The Drake and Lil Yachty friendship is something even Drake himself has acknowledged. In one of his IG stories, Drake shared a picture of him and Yachty with the caption, "Where would I be without our friendship? At Lil Yachty. I love you, kid. Thank you for your time, your incredible talent, and your ad-lib game. Laughing emojis. Drake also had no problem in 2023 calling Lil Yachty's experimental album Let's Start Here a masterpiece, and even attended the album release party for it. The Drake and Lil Yachty bond continued in 2023 with Yachty proclaiming, "At this point I feel so close to him, I feel like whatever he does, I did it. If he wins something, I feel like I just won. He's really, really smart. No matter how much he'll act like he's oblivious to his career and the things that he's done, he knows what certain things in certain moments in his career mean to people." It continued to seem that Drake had given Yachty access to his personal life as they continued sharing their admiration of one another publicly, as Yachty made an announcement on Instagram that he would be interviewing Drake, who he described as his best friend for Yachty's sunglasses company Future Mood. Since first working together on Oprah's bank account in 2020, their friendship had blossomed into something much greater. Last year, Drake invited Yachty to fly on his private jet to celebrate his 25th birthday. They've constantly thrown friendly jabs at each other in Instagram comments. Drake even pulled up to Yachty's show for a surprise performance. It's clear these two had formed a close bond that went much deeper than rap. Lil Yachty has made it clear about his friendship, at least where it was at earlier in 2024. "That's my effing guy. I talk to Drake every day. Me and the boy are really, really close. He's like my effing brother." Drake doesn't just admire Yachty's personal taste. In 2023 Rap Radar interview, Yachty himself spoke about how Drake has been supportive of him before they were working together as regularly as they have in the first half of the 2020s. He was one of the first people to post one of my albums and just be like, "Man, your beat selections are so crazy." And that's crazy to hear from him, especially during times when nobody was really effing with me. Like, I never had many rap friends. And if you think about it, when he went on Oprah's bank account, Yachty was considered to have really fallen off at that point. The work between Yachty and Drake became more noticeable on the Drake and 21 Savage album Her Loss, even though Yachty didn't have an actual verse on the project. It was Yachty's famous ad-libs that were scattered over Drake's lyrics on Major Distribution and Back Outside Boys. We even heard Drake try out some Yachty-ish melodic flow patterns. Along with Yachty's Okay and It's Us ad-libs making appearances on the album, Yachty still managed to get writing and producing credits on Back Outside Boys, More M's, Privileged Rappers, Spin 'Bout You, Broke Boys, P and Millions, Jumbotron-ish Poppin', which was originally a Yachty song, and Circo Loco. Lil Yachty was also apparently able to pick the cover art for Her Loss, which consisted of a photo of Suki Baby by Paris Arden. Yachty spoke about it in a now deleted Instagram post. "I chose this cover because this photo is so raw, so authentic, not fabricated. Suki can and will only be Suki." Lil Yachty's contributions were appreciated so much by Drake that he pulled in Yachty to have a bigger presence on his For All the Dogs album, including being featured on the track Another Late Night. The music video for the song was even directed by Cole Bennett, known for his frequent work with Yachty for Strike, Tesla, and Ye Energy. Lil Yachty was allowed to bring his ad-libs back on songs such as What Would Pluto Do, and Yachty even has writing credits on Calling For You, What Would Pluto Do, Another Late Night, Away From Home, and Polar Opposites. Lil Yachty happens to be another artist that can be added to the Drake list of joint projects with Atlanta rappers, whether real or imagined. There were the real dual projects Drake did with Future and 21 Savage, and the imagined ones that never made it to the finish line with Gucci Mane and Young Thug. Back in October of 23, it was reported that Lil Yachty and Drake joint album could happen, once again showing how invested Drake has been in standing beside artists from Atlanta. Lil Yachty spoke with Our Generation Music about potentially working on a complete project with Drake. "Yeah, we talked about it before. It would be nice, right? I think he gonna take a little second to breathe. I'm gonna take next year and figure out my situation and we'll look into it in the future. He gonna take a breath, I'm gonna press the gas, and then after that, we can see what's up." Unfortunately, a Drake and Lil Yachty project might remain stuck on the back burner after what has seemed like a feud brewing between the two in 2024. In July of 2024, Lil Yachty made it known that he regrets having ever talked about the viral feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, having done so on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, saying that it was a bad idea. The original comments happened on an episode of Lil Yachty's own podcast, A Safe Place.
Drake was deemed a loser in this battle before it started because people don't like him and haven't, and he's won for a very long time, and he's sat at the top of the throne, and still, honestly, respectfully, I think he still sits at the top of the throne. I think that even if opinionated masses would say that Kendrick won, I don't think that people are going to stop listening to Drake, and like Drake's career is going like flush, But I said to Drake, I told him I feel like like I don't feel like you won or lost. You know, I don't feel like rappers have lost and then lost everything. like maybe not lost their money, but like yeah, like you know what I'm saying, and like it just was never looked at the same. I don't think that this has happened to Drake. I think Drake will still be in everyone's Wrapped Spotify at the end of the year, at the top. I think he could still drop hits and it will still hit Control the Summer. I think that Kendrick made very smart moves, you know, and I don't think Drake would disagree.
Fans have been speculating that the rift between Drake and Yachty may also involve a Drake song called Super Soak SOD that Lil Yachty was featured on, and that Yachty then took it upon himself to give it to streamer Kai Cenat to leak during a live stream. This is the same song that caused rapper Soulja Boy to threaten violence if he found out that the lyrics were sneak dissing him. What was Lil Yachty's excuse for throwing the song out there too early? He claimed he leaked it because they couldn't clear the sample for a proper release because the sampled artist Mr. Hotspot refused to clear it unless they made a clean version of their track. But Drake did end up releasing the song later. The only thing is, Yachty's verse was removed. For many years, the music industry has talked about what has come to be known as the Drake stimulus package, a term used for artists who reach their peak by being on a song with Drake. But the Drake stimulus package also refers to whenever Drake jumps on a song, releases a song with the featured artist, or appears on a lesser-known artist's song and significantly elevates their popularity. Among the artists that never charted on the Hot 100 before they took advantage of being featured on a song with Drake include A$AP Rocky, Black Coffee, Blockboy JB, Division, Fabio Foreign, French Montana, Giggs, Giveon, ILoveMakonnen, Georgia Smith, Kyla, Majid Jordan, Party Next Door, Sampha, Sosa Geek, Summer Walker, The Weeknd, Wizkid. Then there are the 8 Atlanta rappers that are among the dozens of artists that hit their highest Hot 100 positions at the time of their Drake stimulus package songs. 2 Chainz, 21 Savage, Future, ILoveMakonnen, Lil Baby, Offset, Playboi Carti, Quavo. But the so-called Drake stimulus package started getting painted in a more exploitative light during a December 2024 video clip from the Bag Fuel podcast, where co-hosts Heineken and Esso discussed how Drake allegedly has a 110% deal demand for up-and-coming artists. They suggest that in order for new rappers to get Drake on their first or second single, they have to sign up to give up all their rights to the song directly to Drake and also be able to show that they have enough money in their budget to promote the record.
Migos don't perform Versace, Versace, Versace. This is why the song with Lil Baby and Drake, you don't hear it like that. The other song with Blockboy JB, Look Alive, Look Alive. But when Esso said this,
Blockboy JB was the person that exposed it.
Yes.
If we want to talk about it, I heard it from Blockboy JB on a platform. But and they said they took it. I heard it about the Versace
Yes.
on a platform. Because they said that they didn't make no money, but it was a great investment to get them on the road, and it didn't work because people wanted to see Drake perform the song with them.
This allegation does not state that this full ownership of song rights has been the situation for every new Atlanta rapper that Drake has worked with. If anything, this accusation does raise more questions about whether Drake actually cares more about the artists getting exploited by the music industry or the music industry that is exploiting artists, especially in light of Drake's 2024 lawsuit against Universal Music Group and Spotify. Drake has not only had success with his recording strategy of working with these 15 Atlanta rappers throughout his career, adding immense value to his extensive catalog, he's also benefited from hitting the stage with Atlanta artists as well. Just between the 15 years of Drake's professional recording career from 2009 to 2024, he has gone out on 10 tours, 5 as a headliner and 5 as a co-headliner. Drake was crowned by Billboard magazine in 2024 as the highest-grossing hip-hop touring act of all time, raking in over $500 million. $508.2 million to be exact, and ticket sales from 4.1 million people who attended a total of 315 shows. But once you compare the numbers of Drake's 10 tours, the top 6 highest selling tours out of those 10 were the ones that included Atlanta rappers. Drake's 6th highest grossing tour was his Club Paradise tour that he headlined in 2012 that earned over $43.9 million. Along with bringing out J. Cole and Drake's current rival Kendrick Lamar, Atlanta rapper 2 Chainz was also an opening act, although we can admit that it likely didn't have too much influence on the tickets. The 5th highest grossing Drake tour was another headliner called Boy Meets World in 2017, earning over $55.2 million with Young Thug amongst the opening acts. The 4th top earning Drake tour was Would You Like a Tour, that he also headlined between 2013 and 2014. Future was one of the openers, helping to run up the numbers to over $60.1 million in ticket sales. In 2016, Drake co-headlined the Summer 16 tour alongside Future for Drake's 3rd highest selling tour, bringing in over $80.9 million in tickets, setting a record at the time as the highest grossing hip-hop tour ever. Drake would then beat his own record in 2018 by co-headlining his second most successful tour with the Migos called Aubrey and the Three Migos, racking up over $103 million. Then if it wasn't good enough, Drake put up even higher numbers between 2023 and 24 when he was a co-headliner with 21 Savage and J. Cole for the It's All a Blur tour. Even Atlanta rapper Yachty was one of the opening acts, helping the tour gross over $320 million, becoming the highest grossing hip-hop tour ever. There were even 2 shows in Washington, D.C. that earned Drake $5 million each, becoming the first rapper to do this ever. When it comes to the impact of Southern rap on Drake's career, his father may have been from Memphis, Jay Prince's son Jazz Prince, who discovered Drake, may have been from Houston, and Lil Wayne, who signed Drake, may be from New Orleans, but it was over a dozen other artists from Atlanta that made it easy for Drake to declare Atlanta, hands down, the most important place in rap music.